Ski moms, we know you worked hard to make the holidays magical. Now let's talk about taking things off your to-do list. Picture this, a ski holiday with no stress, no hassle, just you, your family, and the perfect home away from home. With Vrbo, planning your winter escape is a breeze. Choose from cozy cabins, spacious chalets, or ski-in, ski-out condos, whatever suits your family's vibe. Forget cramped hotel rooms. Vrbo gives you room to spread out, cook your own meals, and unwind after a long day on the slopes. On my recent trip to Stowe, Vermont, we found the perfect escape, a stunning modern treehouse booked through Vrbo. It was everything we dreamed of, tucked away in a serene setting with clean, light-filled spaces and a gourmet kitchen that made our stay unforgettable. Vrbo has an incredible selection of quality homes, often with 3 or more bedrooms, so everyone can relax and spread out. And the location's unbeatable. Our treehouse was just minutes from Stowe's slopes, Spruce Peak Village, and even world-class Nordic skiing at the Trapp Family Lodge. And with options near the best ski resorts, your dream vacation is just a few clicks away. Plus, you can search for properties with fireplaces, hot tubs, or even a game room for the kids. Download the Vrbo app or check out vrbo.com for trusted winter getaways and plan a stay everyone will love.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Ski Moms Podcast. We're your hosts, Nicole and Sarah. Hey Ski Moms, it's time to elevate your après game with the new Ski Moms Après Ski Cocktail Book. Packed with delicious recipes, this book has everything you need to mix up cozy winter cocktails and refreshing sips for celebrating after a day on the slopes. From warm spice classics to creative new favorites, there's something for every ski mom. And even a few mocktails, grab your copy now and bring a little extra magic to your next après ski gathering. You can get your copy at theskimoms.co or on Amazon. Cheers to good times and great snow.
The Ski Moms are so excited to welcome Annie Parsons. She is the founder of Center Studio Yoga in Waterbury, Vermont. She is also a mom friend of Sarah and I. We have practiced yoga with her, but we always admire the way she gives to community, and we think this conversation is going to be a real treat. So welcome, Annie.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to be here with you guys. I'm just so happy to be a part of this community. Okay, I have a quick question.
Yes.
What do you guys think? I was thinking we could begin with the way I open our practices and just do a couple minutes of showing up for your practice and just a mindful way to connect with your breath and take that into our conversation.
I want to say, if you are prepared to do the mindfulness entrance now, I would love to capture that. And then we can jump into our Ski Mom chit chat. Why don't we start with your introduction to your practice, how you would do it right now. And Sarah and I will get into this mind frame. So go.
Hi, I'm Annie Parsons, owner of Center Studio Yoga, and I'm also an instructor here. And I'm so happy to be here with Nicole and Sarah and the Ski Mom community. So to begin, I was thinking it would be great for us just to set an intention, connect with ourselves, and just take a pause. So I invite you guys, if you're able to, stand up where you are. And from here, as you're arriving, let yourself, with intention, take a pause from everything else. You might close your eyes or soften your gaze, going in for this vacation, this mini retreat within the body. From there, notice the pace of thought within your mind. Notice the pace, the rhythm of the heart. With intention and purpose, let's slow things down, leaving the to-do list aside, what's to happen after, what happened before, and just be right here with your breath. We'll move into a centering breath. It's breath count of 15, where we inhale through the nose for 6, filling up, pause for 2, and exhale out for 7, either through the nose or mouth. Inhale, filling up. Pause, exhale, letting go. Inhale, pause, and exhale. Let's keep this connection to breath. We'll move through a body scan just to awaken the cells within by starting with your soles of the feet. Let the soles of the feet root down through the floor and into the earth. taking in this solid grounding foundation. From there, feel the energy, the strength rise through your soles into your toes. Lifting your toes up off the floor, spread them wide, wiggle them around, and then relax them back down. Continue to see and feel the energy swirl through the tops of your feet, into your heels and ankle. Check in with the distribution of weight. Balance. See your center line. From there, move the energy up your legs. Light your pathways up your trail system, your network within. Take the energy into your core. Bring your belly button back to the spine. Lift up through the heart, the chest, and allow them to open. Continue to move that energy up the spine, into the head. Weave the energy throughout the brain. Left and right side, the compartments, the lobes, cleanse and clear. Continue to move that energy up through the crown of the head to the sky. As we stand here, arms alongside body, connecting breath with stretch. Just take your arms, reach them out and uproot through your soles, rise to your fingertips, and then just exhale that out and down. Root and rise. Feel your space and then exhale it out and down. From here, just notice how you feel right here, right now. And let's move into this awesome conversation of Ski Moms Yoga.
That felt so good, especially the being present and exactly where you are, right? I love how you said, forget what happened before, the to-do list, forget what happens after. That's really hard to do for us moms that are always thinking who needs what when.
Yes. And the more we can practice that, the more we can then just take it in and it becomes habit and part of how we navigate the day.
So you must be in your studio right now. Can you kind of describe it a little bit?
Yes. So here we are in Waterbury Center, Vermont, tucked back into the trees. We are very close to a lot of mountains right here. Stowe Mountain, Mount Mansfield, Bolton, and Sugarbush, Mad River. So it's a great central location. But the best part about it is it's right here in the community and easily accessible. However, when you walk in the door, you're in this place of beauty, of peace and calm. Trees all around, a brook flowing behind, and just the moment you step in, you're just feeling this sense of, I can let go and take a pause and move into what I need to do within. So that's the idea of just this. As soon as you step in, you're ready.
Yeah. And we've been there and it's like everything about it just makes you feel good and happy. It's bright and it smells so good. And, I'm sure we can do yoga anywhere. We can do it in our bedroom, wherever, but there is something about going to a space like that, being in person and taking the time to do it, in person in such a beautiful, special place. So we absolutely loved going there and already looking at it. I can't wait to come again.
I do want to jump on that question right from the get-go, Sarah. Practicing yoga in a class, in a community is so different than when I roll the mat out in my home. Annie, can you tell us what you think we get out of doing a class next to another human?
Right. You just said, and yoga we know is all about going within, and it's for yourself. It's your practice, your breath. But there's a beautiful connection of community when you're in movement with others and breaths. Even though you don't have to exactly be making the same shapes or be on the same pace, the fact that you're with other humans, feeling this connection of peace and calm, there's nothing like it. It's powerful, it's healing, and it's fueling for the soul.
Okay, so we're going to back up now and talk about your origin story. Tell us where you learned to ski, how old you were, did you love it right away?
So I grew up in a suburb outside the city of Chicago, and I played every kind of sport available, and just grateful to my parents for giving me that opportunity. However, skiing was something we just kind of played with. We took a couple of family vacations. The first time I was on skis was in Minnesota. Awesome, fun checking out mountains there. But really, truly, it was just a couple moments of my life growing up being like, oh, okay, this is something I'd like to check out more, but it wasn't part of what we were doing on a day-to-day basis in Chicago. So from there, I really fell in love with skiing in college. I went to the University of Vermont, and through friends who had grown up skiing, you have to get a pass And so we were all about just the discounts you can get as a college student, being able to explore all the mountains around. Well, and so I really fell in love with exploring the mountains, the state, the outdoors with friends. From there, I always then lived in a place that had mountains and skiing available. So I lived in Colorado, I lived in Santiago, Chile, I lived in Portland, Oregon. So skiing was always accessible and fun. So I continued to play with skiing, doing it more and more as I fell in love with it. And then as a mom, raising our children in Vermont, not having the background of growing up ski racing or skiing, we were like, oh my gosh, we have these mountains in our backyard. So our kids grew up at Stowe Mountain in their kids adventure programs. And I was like, this is fun. I want to be a part of this. And so I became a ski instructor there, and I was coaching for 8 years. And my specialty was teaching people who had never put skis on to learn how to ski. So those first steps of clicking in, taking those just first glides on the snow, and then working our way to a chairlift. And so that was really where I then honed in and learned how to ski, because we had to go through certification processes and we go through training groups. It was so much fun. Just everybody's always ready to go for a run, give an extra tip, and you're just in this really neat supportive community that just wants to continue to learn more about the sport. So I'd say with that, that's really where I learned how to ski.
Backing up a bit, you mentioned a whole bunch of amazing places that you live near different mountains. Tell us about the career path that brought you to all those fantastic places.
So career path and dream and what's in your heart. My competitive sport is tennis, and tennis was kind of my identity growing up. I played other sports, but tennis is where I really focused my time. And I had another year left of eligibility to play Division I tennis when I graduated from the University of Vermont. So I was able to get a scholarship to start a graduate program at University of Denver and continue to play my last year of tennis, competitive tennis there. So with that, also got to explore the mountains and ski. And I had fallen in love, with Spanish and speaking Spanish. I had done a semester abroad in Venezuela when I was at University of Vermont. And just there was something in me that was like, I have to go back to South America somehow, someday. So fun when you also have a best friend who's kind of in that same path for different reasons. And one of my best friends, who's my husband today, Chris, he also had studied abroad in college, fell in love with Spanish. He wanted to get back down to South America as well. So anyway, timing was perfect for us. After I had finished my last year of eligibility at the University of Denver, I was able to continue my studies with the University of Denver and go to Santiago, Chile with them. Chris wanted to keep pursuing his career with business and be speaking Spanish. So we landed in Santiago, and as you know, there's just some great skiing that we would take a micro, a bus. I mean, rent our stuff. We didn't have all of our stuff down there at the time. Easy to rent, and then take a micro bus up to the mountains and ski there. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but this is how it all builds together with career path and dream. Being in Santiago, Chile, having the best time, immersing yourself in this culture, wonderful place to live. However, my classes were in English, and I really wanted the full deal with Spanish. And so I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can work here. And I started with the American Chamber of Commerce, got to meet people, network, teach English to people's children in the business world, and just started knocking on doors. And I was willing to do whatever, however, speak Spanish and get to live in Santiago.
I know you were a big runner. When did you land your job with Nike, and where were you living? I was just rushing through JFK Airport on my way to ski in Utah, and boy, was I glad to have my Diamant boot bag. The airport was an absolute chaos as skiers and travelers navigated the long lines to head off on their winter holidays. Thankfully, I had the ultimate boot bag to make my life easier. The Diamant Weekend Warrior bag is a backpack-style bag that stores my boots and helmet and counts as a carry-on. It's TSA approved, so getting it through security is a breeze. The bag has a spot for everything. I had a full ski outfit packed, as well as space for my laptop, chargers, and toiletries. When I got on board, I slipped the bag into the overhead compartment. I settled in to watch a movie, knowing that when I arrived to Salt Lake City, I didn't have to worry about losing my essential ski gear. And there's even a version with wheels. The Diamant XL is a carry-on boot bag that has winterized wheels for a smooth ride on any terrain. As always, Diamant bags are designed by skiers for skiers, with a water-resistant and ventilated boot compartment that keeps my ski boots dry and fresh. Head to diamantskiing.com to get yours. And don't forget, Ski Moms save 20% off the lowest price on Diamant ski bags for your whole family. Just use code SKIMOMS at checkout. Trust me, this bag will change how you travel.
So that's where this whole Portland comes into place. So I started working for Nike, and then I started creating Nike running clubs at the gyms that they were working with. So from the Nike running clubs, we were able to work through and connect with other businesses and launch Santiago's first official marathon. That's what brought me into this career path with Nike. And that put me in the path from Santiago to Portland to working for Nike for many years out in Portland. Right. And then you have Mount Hood and Portland. And so skiing we're always able to tap into it.
When did you settle back into Vermont, and when did yoga become part of your life?
I experimented with yoga in my 20s. And I have to say, my first classes and exposure to yoga, a class was, wow, this is really hard. And I remember it was in tree pose. I was in the back of the class. I was shaking, and it was definitely this big challenge. And then we got to Shavasana, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for Shavasana. I can't sit here and lay down and, oh my God, I have all these other things to do. My mind was blah, blah, blah. And so I would play with it because I knew it was good for me, and all the activity and the running that I was doing at that time, but I wasn't ready to commit and have the discipline for it. And I always had this connection. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this too, this mind-body connection through growing up with an active life and exposure to sports, right? So training for marathons, right? Or even a 10K, you get to know your body. You're working through these movements that you might be feeling in your knee. They're not super painful. You have to stop, but you're connecting in, and you're doing these things that are yoga, but you might not necessarily know it's yoga. And that was my life growing up. I had this love for movement and mind-body connections. Where I'm going with all of this is saying there's always been this real deep connection to mind-body. But the yoga piece, when blending that into when I found it, was in my late 20s-ish, early 30s, prenatal yoga. And I have to tell you, it was the best gift for myself at the time and for my life going forward. It was the opportunity where I really learned I needed and I wanted to take this pause and go within. I didn't need to have a practice that was continuing to push me. It was like, wow, this invitation to allow yourself to stop and just take a moment, slow down. And the benefits of that, just to learn that, right?
So now, as we think about that we're talking also about skiing and yoga, tell us a little bit about the connections you see there. A lot of what you're talking about, yoga, I feel like reminds me of skiing as well, being mindful and present. But I'm also interested to hear about how yoga can help us stay healthy and strong so that we can ski longer.
Absolutely. So my yoga, yes. If it's not part of your fitness platform for skiing, I would add it in. And here are the reasons why. And Sarah, you definitely touched on some of them. So the first thing I would put them into these thoughts around breath, body, and balance. So breath, right? Breath brings us into the present moment, connecting to breath. It brings you into the space you're in So when you're on the mountain, you're taking it all in and you're going to focus in on what you have to do. Skiing, there's a lot of variables, things we can't control, right? There are things we can control, and the sport of skiing, so many things we can't. And so sometimes things can look a little intimidating, and you're not quite sure if you're ready for that type of snow or that trail. The breath as you're getting onto the chairlift. So connecting to the present moment, the body. So with skiing, you have these layers of equipment too, right? So you have your base layers, your sock, the sock goes into the boot. You build up the layers for the type of day it's going to be. And then you have, right, these long skis on these poles. So you really need to be in your body and be able to control the movement. And I find that if you can connect, like wiggle your toes, feel your feet, your turns are going to be so much better. If you can get into your body and start to feel your muscles, your core, that is going to take your skiing to the next level. So not only that with the present moment, the body, it's the actual physical movements, the asanas that we move through that can build the stability, strength, as well as the flexibility, mobility, right? Because after a ski day, your quads are tight, your hamstrings might be, shortened a bit. And it's a great, so also here, I got to let us all know, it's a great reminder when you go into a yoga practice and you're feeling like tight and sore, that's because you're a skier, or that's because of your sport, of what brought you there. So those are good things. And so the yoga is just going to help you balance that out. So like you said, Sarah, we can extend the time on the hill. So our quads aren't going to give out, and alignment is huge. So if you have healthy hips, quads, hamstrings, calves, ankles, your knees you're doing such a wonderful thing for injury prevention with your knees. So breath, body through being in the body and aware and that proprioception, but also the strength, stability, mobility, and flexibility of the shapes we make in yoga. And then there's balance, right? So the balance, that's where I'm coming in with okay, so if you're a skier, you're going to learn what your balance is, because balance is different to everybody, right? And the more we can focus in on helping our bodies, if we keep pushing in these ski patterns, we're going to get to a place where we're not able to perform at our best because our body isn't moving as efficiently as it can. So that's where that balance comes in. And so then you really allow yourself to have this positive patterning with the skiing, and it helps you enjoy the day more, longer, and as well as recover faster for the next day.
A couple practical questions. When I've been going to yoga classes for years, and I think I know the difference between vinyasa and hatha, but many of the ski moms may not. So they may be coming to a mountain town and they'll see a studio, and maybe they're going to feel intimidated because it says, hot vinyasa class or hatha or 90 minutes. I see 90 minutes and I want to run for the hills. What should we be looking for when we're breaking down the languages, when we're trying to find a new studio, especially when we're traveling?
Hey, Ski Moms! We're thrilled to be partnering with Ulster County this year to bring you 4 seasons of family travel inspiration. Nestled in the stunning Hudson Valley of New York State, Ulster County is your go-to destination for outdoor adventure all year long. And when it comes to planning your winter getaway, this spot truly delivers. Let's talk about Bel Air Mountain, a ski resort that has thought of everything, from their expanded base lodge and standalone equipment rental center to the beginner-friendly area on top of the mountain. Yep, you heard that right. Bel Air makes hitting the slopes a breeze for newbies and seasoned pros alike. Looking for thrills? This is home to the only gondola in the Catskills and the longest vertical drop in the region. Oh, and if Mother Nature isn't cooperating, no worries. 96% of the terrain is covered by top-notch snowmaking. Looking for even more winter fun? Rocking Horse Ranch has you covered. Picture this: a beginner ski hill, snow tubing, ice skating, and a winter fun park all in one spot. And if you're feeling adventurous, how about a horseback trail ride through the snowy landscapes? It's like a winter wonderland on horseback. Get all the details and start planning your Ulster County adventure at visitulstercountyny.com. That's visit ULSTER countyny.com.
So that's a great question because there are so many different types of yoga, and you really need to pick and choose what works for you. So, like you're saying, Nicole, you see the 90-minute there and you want to run the other way. So, knowing you, right, and your background, you probably have gone for a run. You've probably watched Kingsley. You've probably done some strength and conditioning, been in the weight room. You have this fitness platform that is ready to go to help you rock your adventures that you like to do in the outdoors, right? So your yoga right there is the perfect yoga for you would be then this gentle yoga, starting with and not starting with sorry there's no starting because this isn't a competitive stepping stone with yoga. It's just what's the best yoga for you. We're not trying to build and be like, there's not building blocks here. Like we're just going to what fits. So what I would say for active, athletic people who have a fitness routine, I wouldn't look to yoga as my workout because you already have your workout. So I would look to yoga to help balance my workout. And I would look to yoga to help with, loosening and lengthening and having that time where it's hard to get buy-in on this sometimes with people who feel the benefit when they do, but there's benefit when you don't, right? There's benefit when you can let yourself slow things down and check in on how things are feeling. So I would start with more of a gentle yoga class. It might be called a yoga basics, a yoga 101, restorative yoga. That would be a yoga where it's a supported pose and there's maybe just a handful of them in the practice. And you're really there for the relaxation. There's yin yoga that dials it up a little bit more. And I would say yin yoga is, it could be on the scale a little bit higher than a gentle yoga as far as like pushing. You're not supposed to push past your edge, but you're definitely getting into poses, holding them longer. You do use supports, but you're moving into the fascia, this connective tissue within, and leaning into it. So it's a little more different than this restorative yoga is kind of like all you want is comfort. Like that's it. So with that being said, I really suggest, you look at what your schedule is with fitness, and make it the right connection. If you're already at doing a lot of things, I would slow it down with my class. If you want to add it in as a fitness part of your week, then I would do that 90-minute class. I would say find a yoga that fits your style of, like, if it is this break from your high-paced life, or it builds in and is part of your fitness routine, find the one that works for you. And then I would see if you can be in studio for at least once a week. And then I would take little snacks, little snippets of that practice and take 10 to 15 minutes of it and build that into your daily routine.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the leads into one of my questions. Like, say we only can allocate maybe an hour of our day spread out, however, and it's a ski day, would you say, do 30 minutes before you go out and 30 minutes after? What do you think is the most beneficial? I only have an hour to allocate to this. How do I use it to best either prepare me or recover from a ski day?
Okay, so in ski season, I would definitely say if you could add 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but I would even just say 15 minutes of a practice before you ski. So if you're familiar with sun salutations, I would take those. That's like a great dynamic warm up. And another thing would be just taking in warriors. If you are familiar with warrior 1, warrior 2, reverse warrior, those warriors are doing so many great things at once. And we can kind of go through this as well. But I would do things like sun salutations, warriors. I would add in a balancing move. It could be one of your choice that you like, whether it's tree pose because you're getting that single leg balance, you're getting hip opener, and you're getting this concentrated focus. You could do a standing figure 4, which is similar to pigeon pose where you're on the floor, but you can do it standing to open the hips. So what I would say is do a few warriors, and we're talking yoga language. So what I am saying is do some lunges. Lunges are great because the front leg is usually in a lunge getting after your quads, your calves, your ankle. The back leg is lengthening. You're moving through the hip flexors. So lunges and warriors are awesome before sun salutations. And then after a ski day, I would definitely see if you can take 15 minutes. And Sarah, Nicole, if you work into the 30 minutes, awesome. But I think I'm finding that if 15 minutes people feel like they can definitely do, and if they can add on, awesome. So at the end of a ski day, if you're in a place, the floor is your friend for sure, for the recovery movement. So I would go into maybe to start a downward dog, just because that is the most wonderful shape where you're just moving through the full back body, and just, you can move the hips, you can walk the dog, bending one knee then the other, shift energy around. And that's a great way to just dial into a practice. So I would say start with a downward dog, après ski, and then I would move into either a low lunge or pigeon, just to kind of check in a little bit more with the quads, the hips, the lower spine. And from there, so I would take 2 poses, and these are just so yummy and delicious for our athletic moving bodies, is reclined butterflies. So bring the soles of the feet together, bending your knees. It's cobbler's pose as well, if you've heard of that. So you're laying down, your soles of the feet are together, your knees are bent, the knees are getting closer and closer to the floor. You get an awesome upper body heart opener by, you can take your arms into cactus, you could take them into a Y, to a T, just kind of feel it out. And you just let yourself release into that. I would end with legs up the wall. So both legs up in the air. I tell you, your feet, there's so many great things that can happen for you to get you ready for that next day when your feet have been in ski boots. Just get those legs up the wall. And if you don't have a wall to put the legs up, just lay on your back, lengthen up those legs, and reach the toes up to the sky.
I love a good legs up the wall pose at the end of the day. You can almost feel the blood working itself in an opposite direction when you're doing it. It's so powerful. And you're right, 15 minutes, you could do that. You could have something like in the oven or something on the stove on a simmer, and give yourself this time to invest in yourself. And we are so pro moms investing the time in themselves. What would you say to convince her to add a yoga practice in, or take these minutes? You're giving 30 minutes overall in a day. That's not too much to ask. How do we give ourselves permission to do this?
So here's the permission. It helps you feel better and move better. It adds, and you guys have probably heard this before, but it's right on. It adds more life to your days and days to your life. It is one of the best things you can do for your body and mind by taking a break and centering yourself. You go from this world where we're all in, right? Where there's lots of fast-paced things happening and quick to react. And it really brings you into this place where you can respond. And again, like, it's not perfect, but the more you practice it, the more you can bring it into your day and your life and your job and your sport and your adventure. Just thinking of different ways of, here you are making dinner. So many things can happen between making dinner and then having the dinner with your family. And just those mindful minutes of where you can center, slow your breath down, get into your body, take these shapes that help you be able to move your body better. It's the greatest base camp platform for all your fitness, to be able to take these shapes and get in and get to know how things work. So it really is this place where you feel better, you move better.
I'm sure people are listening and just thinking, this sounds great. I would love to work this into my day. Maybe there's a studio near their mountain or near where they live, but it's a little intimidating. So, Nicole and I have talked about when you walk in and everyone's, in these advanced poses, or it just can be like, your first time walking into a yoga class can feel intimidating. How should we be thinking about that and making it more approachable and just like getting ourselves there?
First thing, walking into a studio, thank yourself for showing up. You're showing up for you. And then of course, you're going to take in the space, you're going to take in who is in the room. And then remind yourself why you're there, what you're up to. Yoga was definitely intimidating to me. I would show up as a runner, and to get into these poses, my shape did not look like a lot of the people's shapes next to me. But I worked with my body knowing that I was a runner coming into yoga. I'm not a yoga person going into running. I'm adding yoga to help me with these things that I want to do. Reframe the brain, reframe the mindset, refresh, reset. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for you to practice that. Okay, yes, look at this. Oh my gosh, there's, ballerinas from New York City next to me. There's, just all these different bodies and shapes. But why am I here? And then closing the eyes or softening the gaze, I have to tell you, it brings you right in. And if you're in the right space, the right community, you're going to then feel the energy around you and know that it's going to be okay. This is your time and you're going to be able to enjoy it. But closing the eyes, softening the gaze, connecting to breath is a huge way to settle.
Annie, talk a little bit about like what you hope to create with your studio and I think you do some things online as well.
We offer classes to the community, lots of variety of classes. We have gentle yoga, we have yoga flow, we have core yoga, we have yin and Reiki yoga, yin yoga, just a lot of different variety to be able to connect with all different types of people and what they're craving. However, what I want to say is that our yoga studio and the energy that we give out is that this practice is for you. We're here for you. We can do this together. You can be any age. You can come from any background, from work, sport, whatever, and show up. And you will leave this place or your Zoom. People come in through Zoom feeling a lot better. It's a moving menu. We encourage people to pick and choose what works for them. If a shape isn't feeling that great, don't do it. If something's feeling really good, move into it a little bit more. Another class that I wanted to mention that would be really good for the ski mom community is, we call it core yoga. And so the first half of the class is just this awesome way of stretching and making shapes. So it's all about strength and flexibility. Not at a super fast pace, but allowing you to really take it in. And it's inspired from the standing series of this Ashtanga practice that I'm trained in. And it just is this really amazing, systematic way, safe way of getting into the body and opening up through the heart, and getting into the lower spine, the hips. And so from this first half of the practice of, making these shapes and stretching, we then blend it with a fusion of core fitness with Pilates and yoga and fitness moves, where we work front, back, up, down, all around, because we know all the movements and lots of the ways that we go about come from core strength. And core strength just isn't in the front, it's everywhere here. So we have a class that just gets everywhere, and you end up in a gold star at the end on the floor, and you're just like, you're ready for the mountain, you're ready for your bike, you're ready for your run. So that's another great class that when we were talking about, what classes to pick, Nicole, and we were talking about the kind of pick what works for your fitness rhythm and training routine. This core yoga is really great way of blending a core strength day with a yoga stretch. So yes. But anyway, so our community is just, it's awesome. We have all ages and different types of goals. We do private and group yoga classes. I work with businesses and do corporate wellness yoga, bachelorette parties, wedding days. Wedding day yoga has been fun. People who come into town and they're having a family reunion, they'll book some yoga classes at their site. So it's fun. We are in the studio on Zoom, and we can bring it to you as well at your event.
And I think you've done an event with live music. Is that right, Annie?
Yes, we do sound healings, and it's an absolute beautiful experience with friends Kate and Jack that bring in singing bowls, just different kind of percussion things, chimes, instruments I don't know the names of, flute as well. And the idea there is through the music, the rhythm, the sound, it definitely connects with at the cellular level and really helps us recover and heal. And you just take the shape that's best for you and you let the music happen. It moves through you. It's a wonderful gift to yourself. So stay tuned for those. We post those on Instagram and on our website.
What are some tips you might have for, we're not with you at our home mountain, but we're now, maybe out in Colorado or something, to find a yoga studio when we are traveling to different ski resorts? How do we go about that? I've definitely tried to Google from time to time, and then I find that that place isn't open anymore. Is there a directory or anywhere that you could give us guidance to find yoga studios?
So I do think the best way is to start the process, just like you were saying, Sarah, is just to start where you are, start Googling some of the studios. And then I would look at the class offering and just try and start to go from there. I would also, if they have bios on teachers, I would read those because I think by connecting with who's going to be guiding us through, that's going to help you know if this would be a match for me, if you're in a place on a vacation for a few days, just trying to see what works. So I would start there. I would also call. Sometimes you might not get an answer on the other side, but sometimes you will. And it's amazing just by a few questions, just saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm doing. What would you recommend? And that can be the best way too. And also if you are out there and I find myself talking to just people around, whether I'm out on a run in the morning or, on the hill, hey, do you know of a great spot, just talking to the locals. But I've had some really great experiences and I'm sure you guys have as well. We're just on the off for the weekend, going to a wedding in the summer and Googling a place and just and being like, oh my gosh, yes, this 11 o'clock class fits perfectly. And I'm going to jump into that, able to get a run in the morning. And it's such a luxury to be able to put yourself in a new space and a new place with people. And going back to the beginning, that energy of community and being in a studio and moving with one another is such a beautiful thing. So if you can find a spot and have time for it and carve it into your vacation or your days you're away, it's awesome.
I really like including it with our travel plans, and I would highly recommend Annie's studio, as she said, is convenient if you're skiing at Mad River Glen, Sugarbush, Cochrane's, Bolton Valley, Stowe, and Smug. So it really is in this vortex. So if you're coming, look up her schedule on your studio. And I will say, I have you were conjuring up these images. I remember practicing yoga at Snowbird. They have it up top on the roof in this beautiful studio. And I remember taking another class at Alta, and it was in the Sitz bar. It's where they turn it into a bar at night. So I have just these visceral memories of taking these classes. And I did take a restorative sound bath class at the Westin Beaver Creek, where Michaela Schifrin works out. And I will never forget that class because I was in this mountain place and all of my senses were just so alive. And I remember that more than maybe the ski day was this yoga class.
Yeah. And I remember we did yoga in a yurt at Sundance, you and I, and we had to there was so much snow. It was almost over the yurt. We had to climb down through a cave into the yurt. And exactly thinking back, that's very memorable from that trip. I mean, the skiing was wonderful, but this warm little yurt in the middle of Sundance, that was something I really remember from that trip.
So Annie, we always love to wrap up our interviews talking about how you end a ski day. And I cannot wait to hear what your patterns and habits and rituals are when you finish up your ski day.
A lot of my ski days I'm so happy to get out there, but there might be a million more things to do after getting out on the mountain. So what I love to do and what makes me happy is you guys are going to laugh, but I love if I've taken the time, I have a fresh bag of carrots. I have a bubble water. and maybe some pretzels and cheese. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. This is amazing. And maybe, sometimes when I'm getting it in and have a lot to do, I'll boot up from the car and get on the mountain. And then if I can take the time and boot up at the lodge, that's like such a gift because it allows you again to really just soak in the experience and take a moment. But I have to say then when I get home and like, you're just like, your body is like coming from just working it through these like magical moments on snow and adventure, challenge, right? And you're just like, I feel really good about myself. So having that and then just letting yourself like take time and relax with a nice dinner at home and talk about the day and then a legs up the wall, I have to tell you, is like so great. You can still read, you can check on things, but I would say that's kind of one of the best ways. But if you were out with friends and you have the time to then share and connect and have a coffee after or go out for a glass of wine or fun sips, I mean, that's definitely like the best. Being able to share what you just did on the hill. And there's just always like at all the places where we ski to from here based out of Waterbury in Vermont are what we have access to. I mean, there's not just one option. There's multiple options of where you can just let yourself like take a moment and hang out with your friends and enjoy what you just did. But on those moments where it's a jam-packed day, I can't wait to just be like, oh yes, like protein bar, some carrots and a bubble water. I'm like, I got this.
Annie, we're so grateful for your time. Thank you so much. And we look forward to practicing with you in person. Invite anybody coming to any of those ski areas. Definitely look up Annie's schedule at Center Studio Yoga.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I can't wait to get out for a mountain adventure with you too.
We want to take a moment to remind you about the Ski Moms discount page on the skimoms.co website. We've collaborated with our favorite brands to bring you a ton of money-saving deals. For instance, we have a special link for Ski Butlers for 20% off your family's gear rentals. Ski Butlers delivers your rentals right to the living room of your condo or rental home or the lobby of your hotel, saving you hours of time. You'll never have to wait in a long rental store line at the base of the mountain again. When you use our links and codes, you not only save a bundle, you're also sending a message to the brands about the purchasing power of the Ski Moms. Head to www.theskimoms.co/discounts to take advantage of these special offers. Hey, Ski Moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing. Ski Moms, let's talk about staying warm and packing smart for your ski trips. Whether you're hitting the slopes in New Hampshire or Vermont, or heading out for a big trip to the Rockies or Lake Tahoe, Ski House has everything you need to gear up for the season. From top-of-the-line ski and snowboard equipment to cozy base layers and insulated outerwear, Ski House is your one-stop shop for the whole family. Don't let freezing fingers or soggy socks ruin your trip. Grab essentials like waterproof gloves, moisture-wicking socks, and heated boot liners. And if you're planning a trip, their expert staff can help you pack smarter with space-saving gear and multi-purpose layers that'll keep you comfortable in all conditions. With locations in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, Ski House is ready to keep your family warm, stylish, and slope-ready. Stop in today or visit them online at skihouse.com to get prepped for your next adventure. Pick from 3 locations, Woburn and Framingham in Massachusetts, and shop tax-free in Salem, New Hampshire. Check them out at skihouse.com. That's skihaus.com to find your nearest store.